Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about why I choose traditional woodworking. Nothing crazy today, we're not building any projects, but I wanted to talk about, because I was asked a few times now, why I don't use power tools. You see I have power tools, I've got a table saw in the background, I've got a jointer over in the corner, I have a planer and stuff. I have drills and sanders and all kinds of power tools. Why don't I use them that much? And I do use them from time to time. A perfect example is when we made this box. I did use my thickness planer because I just didn't have the time. I mainly use power tools when I don't have time. I prefer traditional woodworking. To me, traditional woodworking, it can mean different things for anybody. I guess it depends on the time period when you're talking about traditional style of woodworking. You can go back to, the early days of wooden planes and stuff. So to me, it's my take on traditional woodworking. Meaning I try not to use power as little as possible. Preferably not at all. I do from time to time. I will admit I don't like sanding. Sanding by hand sucks. I would prefer to bust out an orbital sander and battery power and just sand away. But building the actual box, sawing the wood, planing the wood, smoothing the wood, chisel work and stuff, using hand saws, to me, I enjoy that part of the build. And I guess, I don't know if it's like getting back to your roots or whatever you want to call it. So I like using hand tools because of the connection it brings me to the piece that I'm building. At the end of the build, there are going to be mistakes. There's going to be flaws. I made a huge one with this box that I recovered from, luckily, but I don't know, I didn't realize until I had put finish on this box and took it in the house and put it downstairs in the basement to keep it warm to let it cure. And I was looking at it, just really impressed with how good it looked. And I realized the hook is backwards from what I had planned for. It still looks fine. It works fine. It turned out good, but there are going to be mistakes, and I'm sure there's mistakes with power tools too. But what I mean is like a joint, right? Like a dovetail joint. This is the second time I've done it, and if you look close, right? If you get in there and you look close, there's little gaps here and there. You can see inconsistencies between one dovetail to the next one, because they're hand cut. They're cut by hand. Somebody took the time to sit in there and individually painstakingly pare down that dovetail or that joint or that corner or whatever by hand. Like, that brings a connection to that piece that no one else has. Something that's mass produced on a line with power tools and stuff, yeah, it's cool, it looks good, but there's 50,000 other people out there with that product, that same exact product that same machine, strategically built. And that is fine. For a lot of people, that's what they want. They want that perfection. To me, like I said, I've said in previous things like Christmas videos and things, I like hand-built things. I like it because of that. It tells a story. If you look at these, you can see the tool marks. You can see, if you look close and know what to look for, you can see the planing marks. You can see the saw cuts. You can see where the saw, may have drifted a little or something, and you corrected it or whatever. There's little bits of tear out here and there where you just can't sand it out, or without, thinning out the piece too much. The pieces of wood that are used are strategically picked, like something where something on a mass production line where it's just a sheet of plywood and it's all laser cut, and that piece goes here and there and stuff. Like, somebody sat here and went through pieces of wood and decided what pieces of grain, where their pieces are going to come from, how they're going to mix the grain together. So that just to me draws a connection into the piece that you cannot replicate by doing something with machine tools. And I'm not knocking people that use table saws. There are woodworkers out there that make amazingly beautiful pieces of art with power tools. It's just something I've chosen not to follow. And it's not a fear thing. I know how to do it. I've used them before. I built things with power tools. It's mainly, I'm kind of a traditionalist. I'm like an old man. You know, people have told me I'm like an old man trapped in, you know, I'm not a young man anymore, but in this body, like I was born in the wrong era kind of thing, where I like everything old fashioned. I like to learn, you know, I like the old ways of doing things. Like this plane is from probably the 30s, you know, 1930s. It's almost 100 years old, but it still works great. I've got 7 or 8 hand planes up there, and I've got one brand new Stanley Sweetheart that I spent a ton of money on. I never use it because I prefer this old one. It's just something about it feels better when I use it. So I like that stuff. Building these 2 boxes. I've got these 2 boxes out here because these are my most recent examples of me using traditional woodworking. And it doesn't mean dovetails. It just, to me, traditional woodworking is I built something by hand. The only reason these 2 are dovetail boxes is because these are my only 2 dovetails I've ever cut. And they're the most recent things because it's a new skill I wanted to learn. So, but, you know, there are mistakes in this thing. If you watch this build, you saw me, you know, there's gaps and stuff that I had to fill in here. And I didn't think about the wood long enough to think about a top. And, you know, I was running out of wood and I was piecing things together. But I'm really happy with how it turned out. Like, it turned out great. You know, these chisels we talked about, I use these exclusively when building this box. And, you know, we made the handles and stuff, and we made these our tools. And this is a hand tool now that I'm going to use for a long time, if not forever. This will probably always be in my tool collection. I'll probably get other chisels as time goes on and things, but, you know, and I have good set of Irwin chisels that I've used up to this point. But honestly, when working with these are significantly cheaper than those ones. And it just, again, that felt that connection with this tool because we made it. You know, we made it ourselves by hand, and I just felt more comfortable, and I enjoyed using this a lot. Yeah, so that is kind of quick and dirty of like why I like traditional woodworking. You know, I really enjoy feeling tired after I plane a big piece of wood, or after I saw through, you know, a 1-inch thick slab of walnut or something. You know, like I enjoy the exercise. I enjoy the feeling of, you know, when I'm looking at this box now, every time I see this box for, you know, as long as I can, every time I see it, you know, it's going to be a gift for someone. But, you know, if I go to their house and I see this box or I look at pictures of it, I'm going to remember every cut. I remember every saw stroke. Every time I had a problem and I had to work through it, I'm going to remember that. And I recorded it, you know, for you guys, but also for the recipient of this. You know, she can look back at this when she wants, if she wants to. And see the process that it took to build this box for her, and see what went into it, to know that it wasn't something I went to Amazon for and just bought for her as a gift. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. Please don't think that I'm knocking that type of thing. For a lot of people, that's fine, and that's what it is. It's just that talking about me personally. And I buy a ton of stuff on Amazon, you know, but this was made specifically for her. But anyway, yeah, I like that traditional style of woodwork. And to be honest, I want to take this further. I want to further my skills. I want to learn these things, these lost arts, these things that people are forgetting because technology is replacing it. You know, I want to learn how the old timers used to do it, before they had massive, assembly plants and mass produced furniture and things like that. I want to take my skills further. I want to learn how to make more furniture. This year I have a plan that I want to build my first table, my first end table or something. So I'm going to build that. I want to learn more. My eventual goal is to get out of this garage and to be in kind of a shed, not a he shed or anything like that, but I want to build a small workshop somewhere that doesn't have power. I'm going to specifically build it with no electricity. I'm going to put a wood stove in it to keep myself warm in the winter because Michigan winters suck. But I'm going to do that. I'm going to have some windows and stuff where I just want this to be no power. And that will take the cheat out of me to like go to a table saw or a power sander or whatever. So anyway, that's it for today. Quick little video of just why I chose traditional woodworking. Some people have asked, and I just wanted to address that here in case maybe you were asking that too, but just didn't want to comment it. But feel free to comment down below. Ask your questions. I'm like I said, I'm learning. I have by no means an expert on any of this stuff, but if you do have questions and you'd like to ask, feel free, comment them down below. I will do my best to answer them. And if I can't answer them, I'll research it because I might want to know. That might be something I want to learn. So, I'm learning and you guys can learn with me. All right, well, that's it for today. If you like this type of content, subscribe down below, give me a thumbs up, comment, do all the fun stuff. I'll see you on the next one.